Hello, happy Easter. We'll be starting in a few minutes. I'm just waiting for people to come in. So while waiting, you can prepare your paper or any cardstock that you have, your brushes. I'll be using gouache today, or any of your poster paints. If you have poster paints, they have the same effect. Make sure you have white, red, yellow, blue. So those four colors. Hello, Miss Jao. Or any of your poster paints. If you have poster paints, they have the same effect. Make sure you have white, red, yellow, blue. So those four colors. Hello, Miss Jao. Happy Easter, Anne! So we'll be starting in a few minutes. 4 more minutes. Hi, Kenneth! Happy Easter! Hi, Miss Cosette. Hi, Axel. Hi, Renz. Happy Easter, Axel. So I think we can start. So we're trying to do handmade cards today. And again, this broadcast is brought to you by the Podium Mall. So if you happen to do this with me later, kindly tag Playcrafts and the Podium Mall as well. So we're going to try to do this. I am using my cardstocks. So I think we can start. So we're trying to do handmade cards. So these are the cards that we're going to use. I just happen to have an A4 size and I love their colors. You may change the color that you have. You can even use watercolor paper or any of your harder paper or around 120 GSM. This is 120 GSM. This would be 300 GSM and the rest is 200. So I love this color very much. Okay, I like the way the gouache popped out. So I'm going to use gouache later. I'll show you. It's just a student grade gouache. All of these are gouache. I just used gouache a while ago and I was able to finish all of this. Hi Christine, hi Roxy, hi Chris. So here as well, and this is the last one. These are the thinner ones, but they work well. Of course, you have to control the paper, the water that you put in the paper, I mean, okay? So with this paper on hand, I know some of you have scoreboards such as this. This is my Martha Stewart scoreboard. And if you just have a bone folder, if you don't have any of this, then just fold the paper. Okay, so the first one I did, I just folded it into two like this. But the scoreboard gives you nice folds. Okay, so might as well use it. So I brought this out and this is a 9 by 12 paper. So if it's 9 by 12, around 6. And hopefully I'm correct. But to be sure, there you go. It's on 6. So I'm going to fold. And ta-da! You can do it again if it doesn't show off. Okay, so there. And I'm going to use the bone folder so that you just have a nice fold, okay? But you can do away without it really. So that's one. And since this is my favorite, let's try to fold all of them and let's see how many we can finish today. So this is A4. Normally A4 is here. Let me check if I'm correct. Folding A4 paper is tricky, very tricky. So I normally do this as well. Okay, there. So it's near 6, but it's not really 6. Okay, let me see if I do it correctly. See? Ta-da! So it's a 300 GSM paper. That's why it's harder to fold. But if you don't have this, it's perfectly fine. These are just the colors that I like. You may use any of your cardstock or any of your paper. A4 size. These are A4 size paper. Since I go to National Bookstore often, so I really buy different types of paper. There we go. So just by folding it in half, we can already paint on this 4 paper. Okay? So there we go, we have 4. Now I'm going to use my gouache. These are my gouache. I also use this. This is, I think, let's see. This is Marie's. These are student grade gouache. If you have poster paints, you can use them as well. So long as you have white. And you can also use your student grade gouache. This is my Winsor and Newton gouache. Okay, but I'm going to use, let's try to use this first, or let's try to use Reeves first. So I'm going to put 4 colors. I have my white, my red, my yellow, and my blue. Okay, this is the blue that I use. It says ultramarine blue. Okay, and I have this very nice yellow. It's medium yellow. Okay. And you also have this brilliant red, any red. And you have white. Okay, I'm going to use this white. This is Symbolian. Sorry for my hands. Please excuse the hands. I've painted a while ago. And it's going to be more messy in a while. Okay, but it's easy to remove really. Alright, so I have 4 colors on my palette. If you have your triangle brushes, it will be a lot easier for you to do this kind of flowers. But if you only have round brushes, we can do this, and we can do this as well. Okay, so I like this very much. It turned out really, really nice. We're going to use some brush pens as well. I use the brown Fude Nosoki brown pen by Tombow, and one more. I used my pointed nib as well a while ago, and my white gouache paint. Okay, so for the gouache, I just add water in a ratio 2:1. 2 jars of hot water for 1 jar of gouache or poster paint. Okay, so let me see if I have that. Okay, here. 1 jar of this. I really like this brand, especially with their white. And 2 jars of hot water. You'll create a nice paint. An ink. A nice ink so that you can write something like this. See? It's so nice. Okay. So, let's begin with first. I'm going to try to do this design here. It won't come out the same. Hi, Miriam. Nice to see you here. Okay, so we're going to try to do this because I feel this is easier compared to what I'll encounter here later. Okay, so let's do this first. Okay, so let's choose that paper. It's a brownish, reddish brown color. So before we do that, let's do some brush strokes. Okay. So this one entails simple flowers, and we're going to swatch some colors as well. So what are gouache? Gouache are essentially watercolor paints, or they're very opaque, so that you can see it when the paper is dark. If you do watercolors on this kind of paper, it won't show as much. So let's try to do some exercises for this. I'm using a round brush, a big round brush. Let me just clean it. I'm so sorry. Okay, this is a big round brush. It's size 10, okay? But if you have size 6 or size 8, that would do. Let me just clean it. Okay. So, some brush strokes. For gouache, I start with dark first. So, for example, you have the red. This one is easy because we're working on white paper. So if you put a layer of dark, you would have to put a layer of white so that it will reflect there. Okay? You will see this later when we do it on the actual paper. So the first stroke that you do, normally when you stroke a brush, you have to press it down. Okay? So when your hand is 90 degrees on the paper, you create the thinnest stroke. But when you press further, I'm pressing down. This is a synthetic brush, so don't worry, it will come back to its original form. So that's how big the stroke your brush can make. And if the brush is parallel to your paper, then it can do much more. Okay? So when you lay down your brush, if you want bigger strokes, you try to create a sort of a C stroke. And then I'm going to layer it with a little bit of white. There. So that's one petal already. Now, without cleaning your brush, get red paint again. And get white. Okay? Red paint again. And then put white. It depends on how big each of your petals are. So in my case, right now, I think I can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals. Now let it dry, okay? So don't tinker so much. You go to another color. So clean your brush. Okay, you see the yellow here. Okay, we're going to try to do that yellow. So let's get yellow. Initially, when you put this, it's sort of transparent. So what you do to get rid of that transparency, because it wouldn't show so much on this kind of paper, you get white. Don't clean your brush. Get white. I'm getting white and mixing it with the yellow. I am going to mix it with that petal. And then do it again for another petal. With gouache, actually you can do that. Right now it's wet, that's why it's mixing. But if it's dry, this one would cover that area. Okay, so let's get more yellow. And you can try to get rid of that space, that's fine. So gouache is more forgiving than your watercolor. It's sort of acrylic, but not as nasty as acrylic. I mean, acrylic is a very nice medium, but it's very harmful to your brushes because they dry, they mess up your brushes, but you have to put hot water, then it can be dissolved as well. So we're done with yellow. Let this dry for a while, and gouache dries faster than your normal watercolor. So with the blue, again, there's two ways to do this. You can lay down blue first. Okay, we can somehow make the petals shorter, smaller. There. But you can use your smaller brushes for this. Okay, so here are your smaller brushes. You can use them if you have, so that you can control the petals, because sometimes big brushes makes it hard for you to control petals. So you have, you can add white. Add white to make it light blue. There you go. And it will pop up more. Happy Easter, Yancy. Hi, Melon. Happy Easter. So there. And then with that color, you can create more. It's a light blue color that will pop up. So what I'm doing now is just I'm making short strokes like this. So you can practice that. Now to mix your green, such as this. Okay, I'm getting my blue and my yellow. So get blue and get yellow. I like this kind of green. Okay, so if I show you, it's like this. If you add more yellow, it will become like that. So that's fine. Let's create a leaf. When you create a leaf, you go thin, thick, thin. If it's thin, you can do another layer with the same stroke. So you have a big leaf. You can sometimes just dab, 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 and create thin lines such as those. So again, let's mix our blue and our yellow. It's okay to start dark. Okay, you can have that. At the start, this wouldn't show on dark paper. After doing this, when it dries, you can add white to this green. I add white and yellow, and it will create a lighter green to be shown. That will show more, like this one. Okay, there you go. So we just repeat all of that pattern, all of this, the one we did here, on the second one, and then we can do this already. Now, since this is dry, we can now create the center of the flower. Okay, the center of each of this flower. I'm mixing my darkest colors. That will be your red and your blue. Okay, so red, I'm going to get red. I'm going to get blue. It turns into, if you have more red, it's going to turn into a dark purple like this, which is something I like. Okay, so dot. And if you have smaller brushes such as this, it will be a lot helpful. Happy Easter, everyone. Lilybeth, happy Easter. Angelica, happy Easter. Okay, and then I'm getting more. This is dark. This is less water than my initial painting. So whenever you're doing details, it has less water. Okay, so this one, a nice yellow would be good at the center. This one we can manage if it doesn't have a center. Now for the blue ones, I would like yellow, a blue, a little bit of that, and white. Okay, so I am getting from here, that's 2 white, so we add more blue, and we add more yellow, ta-da, and add more white. So whenever you want to make it lighter, just add white. Okay, so I don't want to be this dark, so I'm going to dab those dark greens, but I want to make it lighter more so that it can be seen. Ta-da. And if you want yellow to be there, you have yellow and get white. Okay, using the small brush that I have, yellow and white, so that it will show more. Gouache, when it's dark, it grows darker, but when it's light, it dries like that. So I'm putting more white because I want it to show. Ta-da. And since we have that already, I'm going to put that on the blue. There. Okay. And for the leaves, I'm going to use this so that this will show more. Ta-da. That's the reason why I like gouache. Okay, so you can, once it's dry, you can lay down another set of colors because it's opaque. Now if you want to add darker areas on your flower, on the big one, I'm going to use purple, just a little. And you should have a mister so that it doesn't dry off. Right now my gouache is drying off. So this is just water. I am going to create those shadows so that my flower will have a little bit of depth. Okay, so there. This one I like it very much, but let's try to put a little of the red there, just a little bit of shadow. Okay, so we'll try to put that on this kind of paper and expect that it's smaller because this is quite big. Okay, so these are the colors that we've used, and look at our palette. It has all the colors that we need now to create this one. Hi Thea, happy Easter. Hey, so I'm going to get rid of this now, and then I'm going to go do this. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to follow. It's okay if you have your own strokes when you make the flower. I understand that very well. With this type of painting, we will have different outputs. I can never repeat my own output. Okay, so let's get red. Okay, so it's time to adjust because I adjusted with a big paper. Adjust your eyes because you're working on a smaller paper this time. We're going to try to imitate this one with a round brush. Hi, Sir JC. Happy Easter. So you have your red. If you want it lighter, you can already mix it with white. My white right now is very dirty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a clean one. Okay. Hi, Ime. I know you're just dropping by. Okay, there. So that's a clean white. So if you like that pink, you can lay it down. Okay, there. Lay down your first color, and don't worry, you can always go back and lay another layer. So that's one petal. If you want it more white, you can put, but not so white so that it turns out to be a white flower. But that's also nice if you are painting white flowers. But I want it pink, so I'm trying my best to create that pink. With gouache, you can put less water if you want and make it look like an acrylic painting. You can also add water to make it look like a watercolor painting. However, with the limitation of your paper, you would have to learn to adjust. Normally, the problem is the warping. So if you're not bothered with warping, that's fine. But if you're bothered with it, then you would have to control the amount of water on your paper so that it doesn't warp. Alright, so that's the first one. Next, let it dry. So move on to another flower. So I'm getting yellow. Creating a petal. See how transparent yellow is. Let's get white. I'm gonna get white. Okay, more white. There. And more yellow. I'm going to create a flower over here. I'm just creating petals. See, if it's dry, you can lay over that first petal because you're dealing with gouache. And then let's get white again. Okay, so this one wants to show itself. Happy Easter, fam! Okay, next is another yellow flower over here. Okay. And 3 petals. So I'm doing 3 petals. Let's try to do 1 petal here so that they're different. And then I'm gonna add more pigment. Okay, there. After the yellow, I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to use blue and white. So let's get some white. Create the light blue. There. Okay, I'm happy with that. And then try to create shorter strokes, smaller strokes to mimic little tiny flowers. There. And there. You can add more white if you wish, so that this blue flower will become more visible. Okay, so let's try to do that. There you go. Because I dabbed the white. It's important when you're doing this, try to know where the centers are. Okay, so it's wet now, but later on, don't worry, it will come out looking like a flower. So at this stage, you're quite panicking. It's not looking nice, but once you have completed the details, you'll be very happy with your work. So that's how we normally work with watercolors or with any painting that I have. So there. Now I'm going to go for my greens. So I'm reviving this with water, but you can mix it again. Yellow and blue. Darker. You can do darker first. It's okay. So that we can have depth later on. We're going to lay over one more layer of lighter greens. Okay, there. And if you're bothered with this, yeah, because I am bothered with it, there's a space. Okay, I'm going to get blue and white. There you go. I'm going to put some tiny flowers there. Okay, and then I'm going to try to make 3 leaves over there. Okay, that's one set. I'm going to let it dry before I put on the details later on. I'm going to do one more over here, similar to this. So let's repeat. You have your red. Let me see. There's white. And your white. I'm going to repeat that and create this one. Three, 4. I was able to make 5. If you want to put more white, it's okay. So right now it's a little bit wet, but the paper can handle it because this is 300 GSM cardboard paper. This is this paper, nudes and neutrals. A4 300 GSM. And then I'll have my yellow. And I'm going to put white. So I'm going to put white here beside yellow. So I can just get and then add. So it pops yellow more. Okay. So I'm going to put yellow. And I like that to show the dark side. The dark shade of yellow. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to put blue. Okay, so blue over here. The spaces that you don't like, by creating smaller strokes. Don't be bothered by that. We can get rid of that by covering it with leaves later. Okay? Yeah, because I'm bothered. So add these small tiny blue flowers. Okay, so I'm adding white to this so that it will show more, but you have to put color so that it will show as well that it's blue and not white. Just have to add more pigment. If it's not showing, just add more of the pigment. There you go. Okay, so don't worry so much about the center. We're going to put more details on it. Darker areas like that, so don't worry about it. Now create your leaves. So blue and yellow. So don't be bothered by that because we can cover that. There we go. Blue and yellow. It's okay if it's darker. There. Put some leaves. Okay, 1, 2, and then like a tiny stem to balance it off. And then here as well. Where can we put leaves? Over here. We can put leaves over here. And over here. So now that it's dark, we're going to create lighter shades of green. So lighter shades of green would be your blue and yellow, more yellow, and white. Okay. If you want more yellow to make it brighter, there you go. But I want more white so that it really pops. Okay. And then a little bit of yellow and blue. Add more pigment. There, so that it's green. Okay. So I'm going to put those here. Here. There. See? The dark ones are very nice, and in contrast with the lighter ones, it looks really good. Over here as well. Okay, so ta-da. Okay, let's try to put some of this green over here. Okay, and this green over here. Okay, and some more over here. Now I'm going to use my smaller brush, but I'm going to mix the darks first. So I'm going to put water on my purple. I'm going to use red. And I'm going to use blue. Okay, I'm using it up. There you go. This is a very nice dark colored, less water, but enough to mix it. Okay, so I feel good because I used every pigment that I squeezed out today. Okay. There, now I'm going to use the smaller brush. This small brush to get that pigment. Okay, so I'm going to put here, dot. Oh, that's too big. Okay, no worries. No fretting. There. Okay. It's a good thing I used a small brush. Imagine if I used a big brush. It's one big blob of dark in there. So later we can put yellow to contrast, to create a contrast over that dark area over there. Okay, so I put a dot and then a line, a curved line. Try to curve it a bit. Okay, here we can put dots over here so that it creates a center of the flower. Here as well. Okay, also here. There. Okay, some of the blues, this won't show because it's a bit dark, but we're going to put yellow green later at the center of these blue flowers. I want to put this on the green leaves. Okay, but very light strokes. There. So here also, at the center of those, the vein of those leaves, and I'm going to put dots on the blue flower. Actually, you can use the color of the paper. It's almost the same. There. Okay, so it turns out nice. But I like the lightness of this one. Okay. Now, we can use yellow-green again. Adding more white. Adding more yellow. More white and yellow. There. I'm going to put it here. Okay. Especially on the blue flowers. So create those centers for your blue flowers. Ta-da. Good. I like this for the blue. There. So, hi Lisa. This is the first one. And now we're going to try to write Happy Easter. Okay, so for this one, I tried writing with the brush pens, but since it's dark, this one won't show so much. Okay, so it will show, but it's really dark. Okay, what I did is I used my white poster paint. Okay, this one, I really like this for my gouache. And this one, I mixed it. And now I'm going to use my brush to get white and put it on the nib. So I normally use a brush. Okay, there. But I can also dip it if I like, because the consistency is there. So I'm going to put the white gouache on my nib like this. Pardon my hands, I am creating, so they're very inky that way. Okay, there. The first drop, or the first stroke that you make with the brush is superfluous, so meaning it's really wet. So I have this scratch paper so that I can control the ink. So now I am going to write Happy Easter. Please bear with me because this is how slow I write, and probably do some flourishing. Okay, I'm going to zoom in because writing is different from painting. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to incline this way. There. Okay. Let's write Happy Easter. So on April 15, Wednesday, 10 a.m., we are going to have a basic calligraphy class over, it's a demonstration. We'll teach you how to write these letters. So I hope you can tune in again on Wednesday, April 15 at 10 a.m. So what I'm doing right now is just I'm dipping. And if you happen to have that, that's fine. Just go back. Or you can shade it if you're afraid. I will teach how you make this one step by step. Okay, so there. I'm stopping myself because my tendency is to flourish. Happy Easter. There you go. You make the letters bigger than the others so that it would appear bouncy. Okay, let me do this again. This is something to do with the texture of the paper. So sometimes it's really hard to write on different surfaces. There we go. Happy Easter. Now if you want to do some flourishing, let's try. So normally I would just do this. Curves. Okay. And I will create different patterns as I go. Okay. Then I would create some leaves. If you have a lot of color, actually I am so tempted because I have lots of colors with me, but I don't want to complicate things for you. So let's just use white. I'm drawing some leaves and wheat stalks such as those. And then let's put it here as well to balance it. And some leaves over there. Okay. So it takes a while before I do this because I try my best to balance, and I am trying my best not to over flourish most of the time because that's my tendency. I over flourish most of the time. But but I am forgiving myself because I just want to do it. Okay. And I can put some leaves as well over here. Okay, sorry. There we go. Alright, and then here, to balance it as well, I'm going to put some over here. Okay. Then here as well. I'm sorry if that's making you dizzy. Okay. I'll try to do my best to make it slower. Okay, there. And then one last over here. Okay. Let me see. Okay, a little bit more over here. There. So, I think I'm done with the first card. There. So, this is the first card. If you want to put more details later on, you may do so. If you want to put leaves here, because my eyes have just rested, so I saw some of... I have green here already so that I won't have to mix. Ta-da! But it's too bright, so I'm going to put a little bit of yellow and red to kill it down a little. So here, I'm going to put that leaf over there and another leaf over here because I feel I lack leaf over there, but I need blue really. So there, I'm gonna get blue. I'm gonna mix the green. I'm gonna mix the blue with the green, I mean. There you go. Ta-da! Okay, happier that way. And then get this purple, dark purple, to make it brown. Okay, so there. Now I want a little of the shadow there. I'm going to create this so that I can have a little bit of depth with this flower over here. Just a little, because I feel it's so white, it's so pink, and I'm seeing only one color. So I'm just doing something like that. Ta-da. Okay. And then also here, I want contrast to these leaves. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. I messed this up, but that's fine. I will let it dry. That's fine. I let it dry for a while and I'll do something about it later. Okay, since this gouache, I can do something about it. I just need to relax and keep my head working. Alright, so I hope you've seen the demonstration how I created this card. You may write your verses over here or your message. You can either write using this, or you can put a white paper and then write normally. Okay, you don't have to do calligraphy all the time. So there, I'm going to illustrate one more. Okay, I'm going to use a triangle brush for those who have prepared the triangle brush. Okay, let's try to do this one because this is easier than this. Here, I just did an oval pattern and then I painted. This one is done freely. Okay, so I just did the triangle brush with this, and just wrote Happy Easter. So let's do this. This is more complicated. Okay, so let's try to do this first. That's the thing with inks and nib. With these pens, I don't have that problem because it's dry right away. Okay, so I'm looking for my brown. There you go. I'm looking for my brown pen. Okay, there. So we're going to use this. They are permanent. That's why I also love using this one. Okay, but I'm going to do this flowers first. Okay. So this is a triangle brush. For those who don't have the triangle brush, it's okay. You can do this with your round brushes, but it's just so easy to do with the triangle brush. So with this, I am going to mix my white and my red. I'm going to squeeze another set of white and another set of red. Okay, so this is white. I'm going to put the brush there. Okay, my brush is wet. If you can also water it like that. Okay. And then dip on red. I need a freshly squeezed red. Freshly squeezed from the tube, that is. There. Okay. So you see that? The brush is now filled up to here. Almost 3/4. Not reaching to the ferrule of the brush. And then I'm going to poke over there. And if you see my scratch paper, let's test this. See that? And it's a bit dry, so I'm going to dip my brush in water just a little bit. It's better. Okay, so I'm going to create the petals by creating 5 of them. Initially, if you don't have a lot of paint on your brush, it's a bit not as bright as this one because I layered another layer for that. This one is a bit lighter. Okay, so this is the center of your brush. I am holding the brush like this. I am rotating the paper and I am doing motions such as this: inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside. But I am making sure that this is not flat or they call this in one straight line. So normally this will happen if you do that stroke. Okay, I lift and make sure that they are moving on different places. I mean, it's not straight just as this because it's normal for you to have it like this. So what you do is you move farther and then go back in. Oopsie daisy, go back in. So what you do normally, if you're new to the brush, the petals would look like that. It's straight over here. So in order for you not to have that, go out and then get in. So when you do this, you're doing it, you go out, you're away from the center that you have. You're there already, but you're still on that direction. There, that's how you do it. Okay, it takes a lot of practice and it looks easy, but it's really not. It took me a lot of time before I can do that. Okay, but with practice, it's very rewarding. Okay, the triangle brush I had a lot of benefit with the triangle brush. One is for my own sake, and for the others would be for some of my students who were frustrated with flowers, because when you do loose flowers for the first time, it's really hard. You have to have the muscle memory for it, like calligraphy. Okay, so there, I am dipping red and then creating more petals. So there, that's the first one. Now you can go for another second layer by going around the previous petal. So that's one. You can add white. I'm adding white and I am cheating because I am only putting white on that layer because I don't want to soak my brush again. And then I'm going to poke on red. And if you see my test paper, there, but it's so dry, dip again in water. There, so much water. Do some 3 strokes before you lay it down on your paper. That's better. And I'm going to do it here. Ta-da. And then let's do it here again. There. Now I want to change color. You can put yellow on your brush. I didn't clean my brush. I just put yellow on it. So if I put yellow, it will create that stroke. So let's try to do that here. And then here as well. There. At the back. And one more over here. Defining the first flower that you have. And I'm going to go back to red. Don't clean the brush yet. Let the colors mix there. Okay, add some yellow to change the color. There's lots of red over there. So I'm going to put flowers here. See? Just by changing the color, it creates a different shade, so I like that. And then over here. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm twisting my arm already. Okay, so here. There. I am going to create, I cleaned the brush, and with red, I want to break that monotony because I'm creating like a sunflower over here, and I don't want that. So I am making it a little bit disorganized. Yeah, there you go. Okay, I'm happier with that. Okay. Okay, there. And then I'm going to repeat this over here. Maybe let's just do one. Okay? I'm going to put leaves already and then write Happy Easter. Okay, so same thing as we did a while ago. You have your green. I mix a little bit of red. I really need the blue. So let's get blue. So that we can have that green that we like. You can have your own green. But with the palette that I have right now, this is my green. And I like it as well. So let's do the leaves. Thin, thick, thin. Same with the round brush. Okay, the tip is here. Press down. Then release. Okay, press down. Slowly release. Okay, so there. Put more yellow and white if you wish to make it more visible. But I like the green that it is right now. Okay. I'm gonna put more leaves over here. Okay. And then here as well. Okay. So, of course, I want darker ones, so I'm going to put that green here just to create a little bit of dark brown or a brown, so that this one would somehow be different in value. Okay, same here. So nice. I like that. Okay, then you can, with your purple again, okay, add more pigment. So add blue, add your red. There's your purple. I'm going to put that on the center. You can use a triangle brush or you can use your smaller brush. Center, just create dot. And I'm going to put yellow later to this so that it pops more. This one is just to darken it a bit. There we go. And now yellow with white. Yellow with white. Ta-da. And this has a little bit of the green. Okay, there's white. Found it. Okay, again, put some yellow over there to make it pop. There you go. Okay, now I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to write Happy Easter. Okay, so with a brush pen, I'm sorry for my hand. Okay, so let's write Happy Easter. So let's try to write this one. And make sure it will fit the card. Happy Easter. Okay, there we go. So this is the card that we made for the second time. Okay, so the first one was this, which I have messed up a little, but I will fix that. Okay, wait, I cannot. Okay, I cannot zoom out. Okay, so anyway, these are the two cards that we made. Okay, yeah, thank you so much, Zata. But I got tired already, so if you're doing this, you can create more over here if we have more time. And I'll be posting the different cards so you can try them. Please, please tag us. This is the real one. I like this, so the colors are very nice, but I smudged it a while ago. Okay, but that's fine. I'm not mad about it. Okay, so thank you all so much. Happy Easter, everyone, and I hope you learned something from this demonstration today, and I hope you enjoy your time with your family on Easter. Bye-bye.